Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, I actually think about to time that just right on this one. How are we doing today? We got a great panel with us today. Got Lamar, thank you for joining us, and Nick, of course, as always, my forever co-host with Count the
Forever.
Bucket here. And so, Nick, we doing all
Are
right
those
today?
shots fired?
You're my forever host. I'm just throwing that out there so
All
everyone knows
right.
that you are my co-host.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing good. I am doing fantastic. Turkey Day is almost around the corner, so always something to look forward to. But besides that, I'm always down to talk hoops.
All right, Lamar, how about you? How we doing today?
I'm doing great. Can't complain. Like Nick said, Thanksgiving close, 4 day weekend coming up. So looking forward to it.
Sounds
Oh, y'all
good.
getting 4-day weekends? Okay.
Well, myself, I'm actually on a 14-day weekend, if you'd say that, because my 5-year-old son just day before yesterday did test positive for COVID. So for the guys listening and gals, of course, that pray, please send up a few prayers for my son and my whole family because now my oldest daughter was running a fever as she was going to bed. So I am also not running a fever, but definitely congested, got a cough, and a little lightheaded in the head. So you know what? I'm going to try to push through this. Nick knows he's on standby to take lead if I have to just blink out my camera, maybe go cough my lung up. We'll see how that goes. But other than that, I'm enjoying not have to work my retail job on Black Friday, so I'm going to get to miss that. So that's always great. So I don't have to worry about all that hassle that's going on. But let's talk some hoops. Actually, first, let's go ahead and back up a little bit. Lamar, let's go ahead and let you introduce yourself, where we can find some of your stuff. And I know you've got articles all over the place. Everyone knows me and Nick, but we'll start with you, Lamar, and then we'll just work back around.
All right, Lamar Fields, Twitter, is at RaiderWay83, write for Unwrapped, and a few other, way too many other sites, but gotta get my work out there. So doing the best I can, get known.
All right, Nick,
Oh, I
your stuff.
mean, okay.
I'm sorry.
Follow me on Twitter at Nick Andre ATR, and like kind of like Lamar, I write for an abundance of websites. That's about it, I guess.
Sounds good. Of course, you can find me MDLawson00 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and also Colorcaster as well. I don't know if y'all have heard much about that, but we're actually trying to implement that in with the Unwrapped Sports Network. We're not going live on it right now. We were going to, but with 3 hosts, we didn't know how that would work. So we're just going to back up for a second. Probably next week, me and Nick will be on there to use the Colorcaster, and you can find me MDLawson00USN. Now, I don't think you can actually search for people yet on there, but when I do go live, you can actually see me that way. Everyone that's with Unwrapped Sports Network, when we create our profile, we will have the USN at the end, so you can try to find us when they do have that up easier. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Who is the hottest team, and who can actually stay hotter longer, if that's a word? And of course, right now we've got the Warriors. I think they're on a 10-game win streak, or is it 11?
It's a 3 game now. They lost to Charlotte this past Sunday, and then they beat Brooklyn, they beat Cleveland, and they just
Okay,
beat Detroit.
I'm
So
sorry,
they're
it's
on
the
3 games.
Suns.
The
The
Suns,
Suns
the
are out
Suns are
there.
on an 11 game win streak
Yes. Okay. So right now, and I know Nick, you
over
love the
Booker.
Warriors. I love the Suns. I love Booker. But so, which team do we think, Lamar and Nick? Who do you think is going to stay this hot longer? Right now, the records are 14-2 the Warriors and 12-13 the Suns. Nick, we'll start with you as we work around.
Well, I mean, you know my answer, man. It's always going to be the Warriors. Steph
Bias.
Curry, in my opinion, Steph Curry is the front runner for MVP. I mean, if you're looking at everything that he's doing to really keep that team afloat, I mean, it's just remarkable. But it's not just Steph Curry. It's really the other guys around him, like Jordan Poole is playing phenomenal. Obviously, what Draymond Green's going to bring to the table.
Hmm.
Guys like Gary Payton the second and others, Andrew Wiggins. So that's really been like our bread and butter this season is like the bench production and the depth for the team. Not saying that Phoenix doesn't have that because Phoenix definitely has like phenomenal shooters like Landry Shamet, Cam Johnson, Mikael Bridges, and the rest of those guys. But I don't know. I guess like that camaraderie that Golden State has. They've been champions before, so they understand what they bring to the table. Even though Phoenix did just come off of a finals experience, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of tough though because it's like it depends on like whose schedule is going to be more tougher going forward. Now, obviously, the Warriors are on this road trip, so we'll see how they can contain that. And then, of course, the Suns are going to continue to do their thing. So, if you ask me, it's more so Golden State is going to be the hotter team over Phoenix.
How about you, Lamar?
I like the Warriors as well. players like Jordan Poole and Gary Payton II. I wrote an article about him a couple days
Okay.
ago. Yeah,
Hey.
Jordan Poole averaging 17.5 points a game. I mean, nobody saw that coming, but much improved. And you got Wiggins playing pretty well too, and Steph Curry playing out of his mind, and that depth on the bench. And Klay Thompson should be back in the next month. So yeah, I think with their championship experience, and I think they can streaks can last a little bit longer than what Phoenix is doing.
Me being a Suns guy, and I say Suns guy, like my number one team's the Heat. Then it'd be the Suns second, just because I'm in love with Bubble Booker. But I mean, who blames me, right? But I do love the Suns. I love the team. Chris Paul, I think, is the most underrated point guard that we've ever had ever in the NBA. Not saying he's the best point guard, just underrated. He is a facilitator. He's a coach on the court.
Yeah.
Leads his team everywhere he plays. They're good. Uh, this team's good, but I just don't think they can maintain as well as the Warriors. Now, I'm not trying to diss that team any in the Suns. I actually think they're a great team. I just think the Warriors, where they've got Andre Iguodala back, is just like this team is back to its old self. Their identity is back self, and everyone has accepted the roles all around, and they just know what's going to go on. And what's even crazier to think that Klay Thompson will be back on this team. When Klay comes back, do they improve? Does Poole take a step back into his production? Does Klay, is he able to maintain to what he used to be, a caliber Klay Thompson, or with his injuries and out for 2 years, is he going to be not even a starter? What do you guys think on that? Whoever wants
Say
to
that
go
one more
first.
time.
Lamar, you want to go? I said, do we think Klay, when he comes back, will he hurt Poole in his production? Will he hurt the chemistry that they have now, or Klay kind of knows his role anyways?
Now that is an interesting topic because I mean it's like we said, Jordan Poole is definitely shooting the lights out. So once Klay comes back, because I mean here's the thing, like Clay's going to start no matter what. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Clay's going to be in the starting lineup. So I was thinking, I believe so. Like maybe not to begin the year. Like maybe once he comes back, he probably won't. But I think like maybe after like a few weeks, like Steve will probably start to that starting lineup just to get his legs underneath him. But I was honestly thinking of like a possible lineup of Steph at point, Jordan Poole at the 2, and then Klay at the 3, and then slide Wiggins to the bench. But then again, like Jordan Poole might be a great spark off the bench though, which will really help Golden State. So it's like he will be good either or. But then again, it's like as you see him ascending, you wouldn't want to see him go back to a lesser role. But then again, it's like, it's kind of understandable considering that Klay Thompson's coming back.
I don't know. I just think it's a little weird, and I'm not saying that he can't do it, but he's been like, when's the last time that Klay has played? It's been 2 years now, right?
Yeah, it's been since the 2019 finals.
So I mean, there's no way that he could come back when he is 100% and be Klay Thompson-esque from day one, that he's 100% healthy, right?
Yeah.
You think he can be?
Can be effective?
Can be his last day that he played in the NBA. Do you all think that when he does come back that he will be at that level?
Well, no. Well, the thing about it is that he'll definitely lose a step. Like I don't see him being as big of a threat defensively as he once was, just because I mean he's going to lose a lot of that athleticism and explosiveness. But at least on offense, on offense he'll be fine, just because I mean he's able to shoot so well. So I mean, like as long as his hands are good, I mean that's all that matters.
Yeah, on offense he should be fine. I mean, he don't really need to handle the ball in his hands a lot. He can run off screens, mid post. So the offense game gonna be there, where it's gonna use a little bit of the agility on defense and foot speed. But I still think he can be a impactful defender for certain minutes of the game. But he ain't gonna be able to do it for like 4 quarters like he used to.
Do you think Poole will turn into a Livingston type of role for this team when Klay comes back? Because Livingston was that guy on the second unit that would play the post as a big man, which I don't think Poole will do that, but just he kind of was the second string scorer, if you will. Like Poole's played pretty good.
He could be better.
Because I mean he's more versatile than Livingston for sure, but
that's the thing.
Do we think that
that's what I'm saying though, because it's like it's unfortunate that he probably will have to take a lesser role, but he could really bring that energy off the bench. With that second unit with guys like Damian Lee. Who else could you say? Kevon Looney. The rest of those guys. Just being able to provide that spark off the bench offensively, while Steph and Clay aren't in the game.
Do you think, Lamar, that they may end up doing more of a platoon when Clay comes back?
They probably could. They gonna monitor his minutes. He probably ain't gonna play no more than 15, 20 minutes when he first get
Right.
back. Just they gotta get his legs up under him, and they don't want to tax his body early. He's gonna play it by feel. Poole's gonna still be some minutes there for Poole.
Oh
If he
yeah.
keep playing the way he's playing, they gonna have to. He's gonna have to find a way to get him in there.
So we all three think the Dubs are going to be the better team in this, which breaks my hearts because I think I actually had the Suns being number one.
Let me just say this though. Like the Suns are definitely impressive, but one of the reasons why I'm saying that Golden State is better is because in the midst of this 11 game winning streak, they haven't really played anyone that's like really like a contender. Like they played Houston a few times, they played Cleveland. They did play Memphis, but Memphis is kind of falling under the radar just because they are still a young team and still trying to figure things out. But Phoenix hasn't really played anybody like they haven't really like you know what I'm saying, like they haven't played a Golden State, they haven't played a Brooklyn or a lot of these other contenders. So not saying that they shouldn't take advantage of what's in front of them, but like I think that's what makes it less impressive, just because they've been kind of playing some borderline playoff teams.
You're right, and I hadn't paid attention to that. Their last loss was October 27th against the Kings. So, I mean,
the Kings, yeah.
There's that loss. But then they beat Cavaliers, the Pelicans, the Rockets, the Hawks, the Kings again, but they won that one, of course. The Trailblazers, Grizzlies, the Rockets again, Timberwolves, and then Mavericks 2 times. Tomorrow they play the Nuggets, so that'll probably be a good test to see how their team's really going to look. Which the Nuggets, I feel like, is almost not leading or playing up to par what we thought this year as well. Do you all think so? I mean, I know we wasn't going to talk about that, but just a quick bit about the Nuggets. We'll start with you, Nick. You think the Nuggets are playing where they should be, or are they regressed a little bit?
I believe so. I mean, you got to remember, like, Jamal Murray is still out, so and then of course Jokic had to miss. I think he missed like 1 or 2 games with that after that situation in Miami. So the Nuggets are kind of like where I see them. I mean, obviously they still got guys like Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, but I think once Jamal Murray comes back, I think he's going to definitely fill that void and help Denver become a true contender.
What about you, Lamar? You think the Nuggets are on par where they should be, or worse?
I think they playing about how I expect them to be. They got to get Jamal Murray back in the fold for them to get to that next level. I mean, Aaron Gordon is all right, but he could be doing more than 13 points a game. But
oh yeah.
I mean, and also Michael Porter, and he should be playing much better too. I think that's what they was banking on before the season started. But man, still ways to go. They can get it together.
Well, yeah, apparently MPJ was playing with some back issues. Apparently,
I think he always gonna have back issues.
Yeah,
man, it sucks.
Speaking of struggling back issues, let's go ahead and transition to another struggling team. And Lamar, unfortunately, this is probably one of your teams out in LA. Is the struggling Lakers right now? What's going on with those? With those guys, like all these great sports writers seen all these transactions that the Lakers did in the offseason and thought, this is the team, they're going to win it, they're going to be in the finals automatically. Right now, they definitely were wrong. Lamar, what do we think's going on there? Are we panic mode yet on this, or are we okay and just it'll work itself out? What do you think's going on with the Lakers?
Not panic mode, but I need to play with a sense of urgency. I think LeBron said that today. They got to start playing better. When you put 3 players like Davis, Westbrook, and all these new players together, and you didn't play at all in preseason, this is what you get. They ain't used to playing with each other. And everybody get on Westbrook, talking about Westbrook back. Yeah, he take bad shots, but we all knew that coming in. The problem I have with the Lakers right now is the defense and the rotations is just horrible. And they give up 113 points a game. Like last night, they gave up 130 points. Then on Wednesday night, they played well the third quarter. Then, for whatever reason, Vogel took out Davis and Westbrook at the end of the third quarter, and at the start of the fourth quarter, and they lost the game right there.
Mm.
But LeBron gotta. Hopefully, LeBron can stay healthy because they gotta get used to playing with each other. The only way they can get used to that if they all on the court at the same time. You can't. LeBron play 4 games, he get hurt, come back another 2 games, and he hurt for 8 games. So hopefully he get healthy so they can start trying to figure this out. And they got to figure something out on this defense because they be getting cooked on defense end. They shouldn't.
I mean, I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat this. The Celtics are not really a great team right now. I think they will be at the end of the year. I think they're going to make some kind of trades and try to improve. But to score 130 points on the Lakers as the Celtics, that's pretty crazy just to think of it. And this is an era where you're scoring a lot of points in the hundreds anyways. But
yeah.
Nick, do you think defense they need to be worried about this? Because, I mean, you've got a lineup where you're going to have
without question.
LeBron and AD, and then even Dwight Howard in there. Didn't they got Dwight back? Those 3 people are almost 7 feet tall. Like, this defense should be pretty good, shouldn't they?
They definitely have some issues on defense that they definitely need to hold each other accountable for. I think they're just bad miscommunication. Just not really bring the effort. Like even like a few weeks ago, they played the Houston Rockets. Like, and we all know Houston's one of the worst teams in the league, or actually the worst team in the league. Mm-hmm. I think LeBron, AD, and Westbrook had like at least I can't remember the exact stats. I know they had at least all 3 of them had at least 25 or more that game, and they still only won by 2 points. Like, you would think with those 3 guys having a dominant performance, they would at least blow the team out. But they only won by 2 points. That's to me where I saw where the defense was just not where it needs to be. And with the Lakers right now, I have a problem with just one guy, and it's not Russell Westbrook, it's Anthony Davis. Only because when they first made the trade for Westbrook, what my initial thoughts were, you know what? LeBron's in year 19. He's going to take a step back. Westbrook is really looking to finally be a part of a championship team, so he's going to look to make sacrifices. Anthony Davis should be your number 1 guy because he is the youngest and he has that experience, as far as winning a championship. And I get it. AD did play a solid game against San Antonio last week, but in that game against Milwaukee, he got cooked by Giannis.
Oh man,
he got absolutely demolished by Giannis. I think he only had like 18 points, and I'm like, bro, like in that type of game, you gotta show up. And even in the first quarter of last night game against Boston, he showed up, and then after that, he just disappeared. And I'm like, yo, like where are you at? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, like this team needs to run through Anthony Davis. That's just my opinion because I feel like since he's the younger guy and he's very creative with the ball, I feel like he needs to be that guy. But besides that, the Lakers have a lot of obviously have issues. Westbrook is not the shooter that they have. I don't know. I mean, it's really just a lot of issues with the Lakers right now.
Did y'all see that play where Westbrook fouled the guy? And I want to say it was last night's game. And LeBron just kind of looked at him like, oh, that's pathetic. Like, just the chemistry doesn't seem like it's there at all. Like, not only the playing chemistry, just the bond between the guys. I remember back when Shaq and Dwayne Wade was at the Heat. They were talking about, like, Tuesday night movie night. Like, every one of the players would go out and hang out at the movies. Like, this team, I don't even feel like any of them like each other except for maybe AD and LeBron. A part of me wants to pick on Westbrook, but I'm trying to get away from that because I've never really liked Westbrook. But last year, and the past 2 years, I've kind of fallen more in love with him because he is just a workhorse and he'll do anything for his teammates. But every team he's played for seems to always underperform here. Like, can we say Westbrook's just not the guy that's ever going to win this? Like, this would be the year he would win it, and everyone's talking bad about Westbrook. Do we put that on him now, or are we still hold up? Let's pump the brakes up.
I'll say let's pump the brakes because it's pretty clear that Westbrook is not playing well. He's not shooting the ball well. He's turning the ball over like crazy. But the thing about Westbrook that you can never knock with him is that he's going to at least bring that effort. You know what I'm saying? Like Westbrook's going to at least go out there and try. Like he's not going to give up. I mean, no matter what the situation is. So that's kind of where I give him a pass. But besides that, I've already come to terms with the fact that AD and LeBron not AD and LeBron. LeBron and Westbrook are probably not really going to work out because when these last 8 to 10 games that LeBron was out, Westbrook played pretty phenomenal at least numbers wise. And then LeBron comes back last night, and Westbrook just has a terrible game. I think he only shot like 3 or 4 field goals the entire game. I can't remember the exact stats. I don't have the stats in front of me, but
Right.
I don't know. It's just that they need to figure out how to be able to complement one another. And it kind of sucks though, because I mean it's kind of like what I said earlier. Like when they first brought this team together, I thought that LeBron was going to take a step back, considering, hey, I'm in year 19. You know, these guys are a lot younger than me. They're a lot more hungrier. Let these guys lead the charge, then I'll follow up with them. But LeBron out there still seems like, he wants to be dominant. He wants to attack, which in all is actually neat, and considering how bad they've been. So I think it's just everybody just finding their niche, finding their way with one another, and just trying to like chemistry and just staying healthy.
Did y'all see this comment here that this,
I saw that.
NBC Sports Boston put on here? Y'all paying Russ $44 million to laugh out loud. It don't even put Dennis's stats or anything. Just go straight for Westbrook on there. Like, I mean, that's cold and hilarious and a bit unprofessional, but again, that's great right there. How do you feel on that, Lamar? Did they overpay? Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I mean, this is kind of off topic, but I remember I think it was like a week ago, like the Cleveland station that did something like that with Kuzma, like, because I guess Kuzma made a comment saying that like, like Cavs, like the Cavs are nothing without LeBron, and then the NBC, I think they were NBC, the NBC Sports made like that same exact comment with under Kyle Kuzma, and then it's wanted to LeBron.
Oh, okay. But back to you, Lamar. Do you think that they should have went a different route than Westbrook in LA?
No, I think they did right. If you got a chance to get a Hall of Famer, you gotta go get him. And then if it work, and if it don't, it don't. You gotta channel. I mean, everybody keeps saying Buddy Hield. I mean, you get Buddy Hield, we still got the same problems, defense.
Right.
I mean, they scored average 109.
This team kind of. Does this team kind of give us like what year was that? 2012, 2013 when it was Kobe, Dwight, and Steve Nash.
No, that sounds good. I don't get that. I mean, Steve Nash was hurt 95% of the time when he was there.
My thing with this team, like, I would actually, and this may be crazy, but I would like for them almost to steal the Nuggets playbook with Joker bringing the ball down the court half the time, running the offense straight through him. That should be Anthony Davis. Davis ran point guard in high school. He's got the handles that he can do it. I would like to see that. Westbrook setting picks for LeBron. LeBron getting a small guy off in isolation and do his thing over there. Or even get a switch where Westbrook could come off of a pick or a screen and roll where he can just out jump everyone in the gym and dunk on them. But Davis is also able to make those passes too. So I would like to see that. I don't know what you all think on that. Do you think an offense like that or just LeBron point guard? Because Russ ain't the point guard.
I doubt that happened, to be honest. I mean,
I think everybody just need to play their game. I mean, like Nick said, when LeBron's on the game, Westbrook is playing overly passive. Like trying too hard to make it work, man. Do you? I mean, that's why. So I go back to the rotations, okay? When LeBron out of the game, Westbrook had to be in the game. Let Westbrook go off when LeBron's sitting on the bench and resting. Then they can mix and match and feel out. You can't. And like you got to start, like you said, Mike, you got to start with Davis and the inside. Man, it's simple basketball to me.
So is Vogel the problem?
Right now, yeah.
Okay. I like
but also we got Lakers got 12 players who need minutes, so that's another problem. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to figure out how to put all these players in here and give them time to play, and without one of them getting mad, I ain't playing. So
these guys don't need to play like DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, now he need to pick 9 or 10 guys and say this is who's playing, and it is what it is.
Now, one thing I do want to say, and this is an excuse I've said many times, they haven't had time to play together. They haven't had time to build their chemistry. Everywhere LeBron's went that first year when he's changed over, it's been a growing pain, more or less. But the Bulls just put this whole team together, and they've started out hot and continued so far. So, what's the difference in the Bulls and the Lakers on this? Like, is it just the
Well,
egos with
That's
LeBron and the
that's not a
Lakers that they
lot
overall,
can't?
of star power and a lot of
yeah,
ego.
Hmm.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Like
You got,
that's the thing with me
you got,
though. Like
yeah.
you can
I lost you there. I didn't hear what you said, Nick. I heard you.
you hear
It
me
kind of
now?
cut out. Yeah, I heard you. It broke up on me.
Okay. I was saying Lamar could go.
What's the question again?
What's the difference between the? I was just kind of readdressing the Bulls have not had the ego problem, and I thought Nick was going to kind of go on with that. And y'all said egos, obviously. So how do you address that? And that's the question that we're probably never going to be able to answer. Like, how do you make it work? Because we can't give them the excuse that they need time to gel. They are professionals, one thing, and other teams are doing it and making it work right away. Like even Heat, even with that, they added a few different people: PJ Tucker, Lowry, Oladipo, who still
Yeah,
hasn't played.
we
And so, I
talking,
mean,
but we talking about three superstar players for the Lakers, not three good players. That's those usually pass first guys and stuff
right.
like that. And but we talking about three first ballot Hall of Famers.
So
it's,
basically,
it's
three
it's
alpha
it's a
dogs.
difference. Yeah,
Right.
PJ Tucker is a good player, but he's a role player. We talking about
Mhm.
three alpha dogs who MVP caliber players.
Right.
So it's
Right.
different. And
I actually,
you play the whole style your whole career. Like Westbrook used to be in a one or two. Now he's a three.
mm,
So I mean,
it's just weird to think that
yeah,
Westbrook has had players like Kevin Durant and James Harden on his team together at one time. Then he's had Bradley Beal, John Wall. I think no, John Wall that wasn't with him.
yeah,
Uh, just the difference. He even had James Harden again 2.0, and now he's got LeBron and Anthony Davis, and it's the team's
Not
still
forget
struggling.
Paul George.
And Paul George, yeah. So I mean, I've grown to like Westbrook now because anyone who averages a triple double is a good ball player. I can't say that he's not. It's just in today's game, it's almost a handicap of his
yeah.
shot. But I don't know. Uh, anything else y'all want to talk on the struggling Lakers? Anything whatsoever?
Then they're gonna have
They
another
gotta run the
problem.
offense through AD.
Then they're gonna have another problem about another month or so when Ariza get back. Now they got to get him in the rotation.
They gotta keep him on the bench. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He needs to be a PJ Tucker. I mean, that's just
But
it.
I think Vogel gonna like him because he gonna play. He don't want the ball. He gonna play defense and he gonna just sit in the corner and shoot threes. So I think in the long haul he could help.
Mhm.
But
I
I
mean,
don't know.
they need defense
I'm
bad.
waiting for Horton Tucker's back now. He's been playing good. Played like trash last night, but before then he been playing well. So I mean we'll see.
Last question on the Lakers: does Westbrook make it on this team past the All Star break?
Yeah, he'd be their
Yeah, he
best All
does.
Star break.
Okay. All right. Speaking of PG,
Some of them other players might not though.
okay. Speaking of Paul George, let's talk about his MVP season that he's having, which he was in my top five on my list. Nick, I know you was wanting to talk about this. I'm assuming you're grabbing your phone for some notes here. Let's hear what you're thinking on him. Does he have a shot?
Well, I'm not gonna say he has a shot, but considering the circumstances of the Clippers, no Kawhi,
Mm-hmm.
basically rebuilt this roster. And to start off the year, they were struggling. Like I will say, and for them to have turned it around, I want to say they are in the playoff seating right now with Paul George averaging around 26 a game. I think it's very impressive.
26.
So,
Okay.
so I don't know if it gives you vibes of like the MVP caliber year that he had with OKC, but for him to be able to carry this load, this Clipper team, and like at least try to keep them in playoff contention, I think it's impressive.
Right now, they are ranked sixth in the Western Conference, 5 games back from first, if that really matters. But Let's see here. I'm on NBA.com looking through here. Of course, the rankings right now. Steph Curry, number 1. Last week was number 2. Kevin Durant, number 2. Last week was 2. Joker, number 3. Last week was number 3. DeMar DeRozan is number 4 this week. He was 5. He's averaging 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Number 5 on the ranking is Jimmy Butler, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and last week he was 6. Paul George on this list has got Giannis at number 6, Paul George 7, Ja Morant 8, Chris Paul 9, and Zach LaVine at 10. Other 5 more that they just announced or just put on there in alphabetical: Devin Booker, Miles Bridges, Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, and Rudy Gobert. I don't think Gobert belongs on the list, but that's me.
They
I'm
always
surprised
give Gobert
Andrew-
some type of praise, man. I'm like, like Gobert does not deserve to be on these lists, man.
I mean, he's a good defensive player. We know that, but that's really all he is. And I'm not
but-
dogging him. But he also got exposed in the playoffs.
I lost respect against Gobert when what the Clippers let the Clippers do to him.
Right, that's what I'm talking. Yeah, I mean, they put him out on the island and really cooked on him. I mean, that's all you can say. Like, so his only like superstardom thing that he has is defense. The Clippers ate him up pretty much. Luka, I'm actually surprised he's so far back, but he's not really played great or that many times. He's been out a few games. Anthony Davis is on the list. Miles Bridges, I thought was interesting that he was on the list. I would have actually thought it would have been LaMelo Ball on there. I feel like he should be on the top 15 list. Do y'all disagree with me?
Is Ja Morant on there?
Ja Morant was on there.
Let
me go back.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, he was 8. Look at you, Lamar. Good job. So, what do y'all think on? And this is really off topic. What we kind of said we were going to talk about, but DeMar at 4. Are y'all cool with that?
It's gonna drop as the season progresses, but if you look at him this past week or so, he had 2 strong games against the Clippers and the Lakers. Like I think DeMar has been a little underrated this year because I think a lot of people really pay attention to what Zach LaVine has been doing, being able to carry that offense, but DeRozan has been able to hold his own as well, if not being able to carry the team. So right now with Chicago on the roll, I'm not surprised now. Do I think that it'll stay? I doubt it, but I still think DeRozan will continue to have a good year.
Okay. Said that he had 35 points against the Clippers, 38 points against the Lakers in the back-to-back performances. You were talking about the 2 games. And of course, now he's scored over 6,500 career points or shot, it says. So I think it's great that he's getting the recognition. I mean, the Bulls are really one of the stories that's just fun to listen to this year. Like, nobody thought the Bulls would be this good that they're playing. Like, we all thought that they would be good, but they didn't think they would compete for a 1, 2, or 3 spot. But the Bulls are looking great right now.
And it's crazy. A lot of the DeRozan points come from inside the 3-point line too. You don't hardly shoot threes.
And that's definitely a different mirror of what's going on right now. And one thing, love Tyler Hero, Kentucky player. They're doing a lot of pick and rolls. I watched him tonight with against the Wizards. Wizards somehow came back to win. Actually went to tuck the kids in, get them in their baths, and put them in the bed when there was 10 minutes left. And Butler's being checked in, and he kind of had a little smirk going on, like he's happy, like this game's about to end here. They were up by 8. Come back down from the showers and tucking them in, and the crowd was going wild, and Wizards were up by 3 and ended up winning the game. But Tyler Hero gets a lot of those mid-range jumpers, and I think it's a lost art, especially with the pick and rolls that you need, and you will see probably trend up a little bit more here lately. I like that. I never was that when I played, and I wish I would have done it. Once I got a pick, I was going to the go. I was finishing at I'll say at the rim, below the rim, before a layup and drawing a foul. But yeah, I think the mid-range game is going to be big for players, and if they would, I'm sorry. In my head, I'm thinking for these younger kids and high school kids, college kids, if they would learn to focus on that mid-range game a lot more, I think that their careers would start to blossom even more. I'm not thinking of the NBA. Like, if you watch Tyler Hero today, you could tell when he was going to hit those jump shots on the side or on the 10 feet out and everything. And I'm like, wow, that's a perfect shot. I would never have done that. Anyways, I'm getting ADHD with us there. So, Nick, do you think Paul George finishes in the top 5 this year in the MVP?
I think there's a possibility, but I'm going to say no just because the Clippers – I mean, the Clippers are going to be good, but I don't think the Clippers are going to be as good as, at least a top 4 seed in the West. So I think because of that, considering that Kawhi will probably more likely be out for the rest of the year,
Mhm.
I just don't see it happening. But Paul George will definitely continue to have a strong season, but at least around like being like top 4, top 5, I don't see it.
Mhm. What about you, Lamar? I about said Nick again. Do you think he finishes in the top five of MVP? And again, the top five are Jimmy Butler, DeMar DeRozan, the Joker, Kevin Durant, and number one is Stephen Curry.
I think he finishes just outside the top five, probably like 6 or 7.
Okay.
Continue to play like this, and the Clippers keep on surprising and winning games. But yeah, just outside the top five. It's going because some of these other players that's at the bottom are going to start climbing up too once
Mhm.
everybody start getting close to that second half of the season. Everybody trying to ramp up for the playoffs.
Mhm. I'm actually going to say he finishes in the top five because I think if they're going to have a chance in anything this year, the Clippers of making the playoffs, it's going to be because of Paul George. So I'm going to say he's in the top five. The only thing that really scares me is I don't think DeMar DeRozan finishes in the top five at all. So I'm moving him out. But then I'm looking at the list
No,
here. You got Giannis, who's not even in the top five. And then also, not even to mention that in any of this, is you got Joel Embiid that's not even mentioned on here. So, I mean, when he gets to play in, I think
well,
he's obviously
Embiid's been out like the past few weeks though with COVID.
right. But I think when he comes back, he's going to jump into the MVP race because there's no Ben Simmons. Uh, Joel Embiid, we know, is the guy there, and he was top two last year. Should have won it last year, but he was hurt most of the time. So if he can get back to healthy, which we know with Jaylen Brown with the Boston Celtics, after having COVID, it's been very hard for his back-to-back games. Who knows if that will affect Embiid as the same way? So I'm still going to just take a risk and say my count the bucket on this is that Paul George finishes in the top five. Bam! How'd you like that? Instead of hot take, it's count that bucket. So, with my bold prediction there, let's talk about the Jazz. What we think of the Jazz this year? Last year, first place. This year, up and down a little bit. They started out very hot. I think they've lost a few games recently. They are on a two-game winning streak. They're 10-5 right now, behind the Warriors and the Suns. They still look good at 10-5. Nick, let's hear from you because I know you love the Jazz.
The Jazz are okay, I guess. I mean, like to me, they're in the predicament as the Celtics are on the East. It's like you're gonna expect them to be like playoff team, a solid playoff team, but like what is the true ceiling for them? Like, does anybody ever see finals for the Jazz? Like nobody will ever see the NBA finals for the Jazz. I actually thought that they were going to make it to the conference finals last year, but then they ended up fumbling against the Clippers without Kawhi in those last few games. So we get Donovan Mitchell. Is definitely a star. Mike Conley, great player. They got Jordan Clarkson, who probably will more likely. Well, I'm not gonna say Jordan Clarkson will win Sixth Man of the Year, but he'll definitely be in that conversation alongside with guys like Tyler Hero and Carmelo Anthony and others. But and then of course Gobert.
My thing with
He'll be in
them is I'm looking at.
contention.
I'm sorry. I think we have a little bit of a delay going on here. Looking at the rosters for the Jazz this year, they beat the Kings, they beat the Hawks, they lost to the Heat, they lost to the Magic. Whoops, I clicked on a game here. They beat the Hawks again. They lose to the Pacers and Heat. They beat the 76ers without Joel Embiid, and then they beat the Raptors. They're not really beat anyone that's like outstandingly good on this list. I mean, we thought the Pacers were going to be better than what they are, but the Pacers haven't played very well at all. So is it more of a record who they're playing right now? Because they're playing the Kings right now. It's at halftime. I don't know what the score is. And then they play the Grizzlies, Thunders, Pelicans, and Trailblazers. And that ends the month of November. So this is a good team. They should be able to win out. Like the only game I would consider they may lose is the Grizzlies. So, I mean, they'll probably finish 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 6, I think it is. Or 4. No, 6. So, I mean, they definitely got the strength of schedule in their favor right now. So, are we really seeing a true team of what we expect from the Jazz this year? Because they pooped the bed in the playoffs. Like they were the number one team. When they had competition, they sucked.
I see the same thing. They're gonna win a lot of regular season games. Win a first round playoff series and be going in the second round in 5 or 6 games. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, great player, but the rest of the roster, I mean, might if they going to try to make that next step, Mike Conley going to have to average like 20 points a game in the playoffs. Can't be hurt, and I don't know what's going on with Ingles. He don't look good at all this season.
Mm-hmm. Trying to look up the roster real quick while y'all talk.
Like I said, like there's really no ceiling for Utah. I mean, it's like, we already know they're going to make the playoffs, but what else do you see after that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are the Jazz better than the Warriors? No. Are the Jazz better than the Suns? No. So it's like, what is their true ceiling?
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Oh, poor Whiteside. Whatever happened to him?
Oh man.
But he ain't been the same since he left Miami.
Yeah, he hasn't. I just feel like the Jazz are a team they remind me of my college team of Gonzaga that I will never trust until they actually do something. Like, they're out in the West. They don't get really seen too much. They win games. They don't play too many great teams, which they haven't so far. And they just make it to the playoffs, and then they don't do anything. So, yeah, I wish Donovan Mitchell would get out at Utah. Wish he'd go to the Lakers, maybe.
He should go to Portland.
Portland with Dame?
Yeah. You don't think that pairing will work?
So are we trading C.J. McCollum then?
Yep. Get him up out of there. And give him some picks, too. Give Utah some picks.
See, I like C.J. I'd rather Ben Simmons go there. Nobody wants to see Ben do good. I don't know why. Everybody hates Ben. Poor Ben.
Apparently, there was like a rumor of Ben possibly going to Detroit, and I was like, what? No way.
There would have to be some young players in that trade. Cunningham, maybe, which I don't think you draft a lot.
It's tough, though, but yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell definitely needs to get out of Utah. Just because I feel like they're not going to be true contenders. I mean, they're definitely going to still always be like a good playoff team, but I mean, as far as being a championship team.
What was you saying, Lamar?
Not going to be able to put the right enough talent around them to get them to the championship level. Nobody really want to go there.
And I do think Dwayne Wade may help that since he has been a part of the ownership now. I don't know if it helps too much, but I do think it'll help some. You may get some of these Miami players to go just because, hey, Dwayne, we know how he is entwined with Miami Heat still.
It don't matter. It don't matter if D-Wade there. Ain't nobody going to Utah.
I mean, if you could sign with anyone, would you sign with Utah? I mean,
no.
All right, so that's enough of the Jazz talk.
I'm sorry.
I understand. I agree with you 100%. Like, I don't. What is there in Utah other than a lake that is salty? All right, now I'm going to try to bring up this other team we want to talk about. Let's head back to the East just a tad bit, if you don't care. Let's talk about the Knicks, the bum Knicks again. A lot of players or people had predicted them to be a top 4, top 5 in the East this year. I am trying to see what their record is because they are at 5th place right now at 9-7, 2.5 back on the 1-game winning streak. How do we feel about the Knicks right now?
It might be time to panic.
Panic?
Yeah, it might be time because honestly, like their next like 10 games are tough. They're going to be playing Brooklyn a few times. They're going to be playing the Lakers. They're going to be playing the Suns. So their schedule gets tough. And let me just say for the Knicks, it's been a pretty up and down season just because everybody knows the momentum that they had last year, and they even came into this year riding that momentum in that big win against Boston in the double overtime. But since then, it's kind of been an up and down season. Julius Randle is not playing at his best. I want to say my guy Sam had told me that Julius Randle's been like a minus like 20 something 26 this year, which is pretty bad. And before he's not put that same momentum. So I mean, overall, the Knicks on paper is still look, but all about being able to make everything work. And so far they have had their issues just trying to make everything on the floor work.
Lamar, they just beat the Rockets today, which the Rockets are the worst team in the league. Their next 5 games is Bulls tomorrow, the Lakers, the Suns, the Hawks, and the Nets. So in the next 5 games, how many games do you think the Knicks have a chance of winning? Again, that's Bulls, Lakers, Suns, Hawks, and Nets.
Chance of probably winning one. That'd be the Lakers. The Lakers don't play no defense. But
I'll say
honestly,
two.
I would say
probably Atlanta
Hawks.
too.
Yeah.
But when you get these young teams like the Knicks and they flash, then you expect these players to come back the next year and take a jump.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still in the same spot. R.J. Barrett still playing like he did last year. And I know they expect him to play better. Julius Randle is not playing like he did last year either. And also Kimber Walker only averaging 12 points a game. I'm sure they want him to be up around 18 and 20 points a game, and he just can't do it. So they players like stuck in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and we seen last year when they played not Miami, but they played Atlanta in the playoffs that when they got faced with diversity, they almost crumbled more or less. So this is a young team that hasn't learned how to win in tough situations. That could be a big factor. That just the youth that they have on this. I mean, even Julius Randle, who is a veteran now and Kentucky player, like he spent time in LA where they still struggle real bad. Like probably the worst LA's been in a long time. Shipped out, finds life last year, and he's still playing good. This team hasn't had to deal with a lot of diverse situations where they try to fight for those wins. So, I mean, I'm not panicking on them yet because this team is more about defense. It's Tom Thibodeau and his style of play on that with Derrick Rose buying in on that. But I would worry some. I mean, there's something that's got to give. And the Knicks, I mean, 9-5 is okay. I do think that they win 2 of those games that we were talking about, and at least maybe even 3 with Brooklyn because Brooklyn's kind of struggled a little bit. Let's see here. I want to say they're actually in first now. They've won 2 in a row. They're 12-5. So I don't. Looking at the rankings right now, Cavaliers 8, Hornets 7, 76ers 6, Knicks at 5. Obviously, when Joel Embiid comes back, 76ers should move past the Knicks at some point. Hornets, I like too. I actually think the Knicks may end up falling back to the 7 or 8 spot by the end of the year because the Bucks aren't even in there yet. Hawks aren't hot yet, and even the Celtics. So if they go on a big losing streak, it may be panic button central for them.
That ain't going to impress Knicks fans at all.
No, I mean, and even with this team, trade possibility, but who you trade for? Like, who would you be wanting to try to get to improve this team?
Go get Lillard.
That actually would be nice. That would be good. Who would you lose, though? I mean, you have to probably give up quickly on that.
Whoever needs to give up, in my opinion.
I mean, Lillard would be wonderful.
Julius Randle, too.
For, I don't know. I'd like to pair them 2 up. But Dame doesn't really need anyone. I like that, actually, because Dame, the loyal that he's been, New York Knicks needs that guy, and I think that would actually be great, Lamar. I like that. You need to write an article, Dame to the Knicks. Make it happen.
I was saying that at the end of last year, too, but just
really?
Never wrote. Yeah, but Portland will have to do something.
Yeah, I do think that would be good, though. Who do y'all think actually has a better season by the end of this, the Hornets or the Knicks?
I'm going to say the Hornets.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Hornets as well.
You have to love the Hornets, especially the announcers. Have y'all seen any of their stuff on Twitter and just how they go bazonk? I mean, it's great the stuff that they commentate on.
Oh, they go absolutely they go absolutely crazy. Like it's crazy though because it's like whenever I do watch Hornets games, like I try to watch like on the Hornets network. Like I don't want to watch it like on the Knicks network or the Pacers like or whoever they're playing. Like I need to watch it like on the Hornets network.
Like
especially the home games.
Yeah.
Guys, we're at 50 minutes. We've had a pretty good show. Y'all got anything else that y'all want to talk about that we didn't mention or go into anything?
I'm good.
Cole Anthony, most improved player candidate.
I hope so, because this card right here I got in a break that I keep
Nice.
showing. It is going for $51 right now. So keep on going, Cole. We love your interviews. Make that card worth some money for me, please. Thank you. Well, I guess we'll sign on off here. Lamar, go ahead and just throw your stuff out there again. Where can we find you? Raiders fan, we know. Let's hear it.
Follow me on Twitter at RaiderWay83 and check out my articles on Unwrapped Sports. There's a lot on there, even from past years. Just type in Unwrapped Sports, type in my name. You can find all my work.
There we go. Nick, go ahead with yours.
Follow me on Twitter at NickAndreATR. As everybody may be aware, I'm a basketball writer / analyst covering everything from high school to the pros. So yeah, just check me out there. Check out my link tree, as they call it.
There we go. Hey, let me ask you a quick question about a guy that signed today. I don't know if you know anything about him, but it's Reed Shepard. Have you ever heard of him? Okay, he is
Never
a
heard of
5-star
him.
recruit. He's from Kentucky. His dad is Jeff Shepard. I don't know if you're old enough to even remember when he
Oh,
played
wow.
in the
Ref
90s.
Shepard played for
Yep.
Kentucky, too, number 15, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I loved him.
Okay, well, his son Reed just became a 5-star recruit, I think, towards the end of during the winter times, or actually summer times, and he just committed to Kentucky right now. So super excited about that. I went down his Twitter line a little bit, and he's got some really good stuff on there. One of the things he was doing was like trying to find his career path, and did like a little short video. And so it was like, all right, he's here shadowing a dentist or whatever. And he went through there, was playing all the stuff in there. And he's like, not to touch anything. Like, maybe orthodontist is not your thing. Maybe I should try basketball. I mean, it was just hilarious. You need to go check him out. It was great stuff. I tickled on it. So, anyways, now that I'm randomly done with that, I apologize. MD Lawson 00 on everything, pretty much. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and again, like we said earlier, the show Colorcaster as well, but that has USN at the end of it. Be watching everybody with Unwrapped Sports Network on that. In all my bios, you can actually find my link tree, as Nick was talking about, of all the other stuff I got. And also, I want to point out Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time is my other show, Backstop Banter, where we talk everything baseball, what's going on. And check our stuff out on the podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, both Count the Bug and Backstop Banter is on there. Guys, y'all have a good night.
Peace.
Deuces.